Is the Segway GT3 Pro just an expensive flex? Or is it just a slightly updated version of the GT2 with a pricey tag? Segway says the GT3 Pro is their most powerful scooter yet, which sounds great until you check the price tag and realize you're basically buying a two-wheeled sports car. While spec sheets are great for bragging rights, what actually matters is how this scooter feels when you're flying down a bumpy street, dodging traffic, or trying to carry it up 2 flights of stairs. We're gonna break down the specs, ride comfort, range, smart features, all of it. And at the end, we'll put it head-to-head with the GT2 to find out whether it's worth the upgrade or just overkill. Let's get into it. First, let's talk about the build, because the GT3 Pro does not play subtle. The frame is all clean angles and aggressive stance, but it's not just for looks. The materials feel premium with a rugged, high-strength steel frame that doesn't flex when you lean into turns or hit a patch of rough pavement. It feels like it could survive a fall, or 5. Now, when it comes to weight, it's quite chunky. You're looking at over 110 pounds. So if you're dreaming of casually lifting this into the trunk of a Civic, maybe don't. The scooter clearly wasn't designed for portability. Things get spicy when you check out performance. Its dual motors push out a ridiculous 7,000 watts of peak power, and that translates to a 50 miles per hour top speed. If you're used to casual commuter scooters, the GT3 Pro feels like strapping a rocket to your shoes. You also get a hydraulic steering damper to keep things stable when you're flying. And the throttle has a progressive feel, so it doesn't just yank you when you hit the gas, unless you really want it to. It's tuned well, especially for something this powerful. And yes, it comes with full turn signals, a full color display, horn, and enough LEDs to light up a small rave. The GT3 Pro truly changes the game with its handling. It features a dual wishbone hydraulic front suspension with adjustable 15 levels of stiffness and a trailing arm setup in the rear. You feel it the second you hit a speed bump or cruise over a rough patch of city asphalt. There's a lot more give than you'd expect for something this big and this powerful. It eats uneven pavement and cracked streets with a kind of confident shrug. You'll still feel the terrain, you're not riding air, but the shocks take the bite out of it. And speaking of control, the steering is tighter than you think for a scooter this heavy. That hydraulic damper up front is doing work. It keeps the front end from twitching when you're bombing down a hill or carving into a corner a little harder than you probably should be. It's not twitchy, it's composed. And for something that weighs more than some e-bikes, that's saying a lot. The tires are also a game changer. I mean, 11-inch self-healing tubeless tires? First off, you're way less likely to end up pushing it home with a flat tire. Second, they're wide enough to give you some real grip, even when the pavement's wet or gritty. You can lean into turns with confidence, and when you need to stop, they help anchor you. Combine that with the dual hydraulic brakes, and you've got a scooter that actually respects physics. The brakes are predictable, well-calibrated, and they don't lock up unless you're trying to do something dumb.
And with the tires gripping like they do, even emergency stops feel controlled. Not pleasant, but definitely controlled.
Overall, comfort on the GT3 Pro is best described as firm, responsive, and made for speed. It wants to move fast, and it's built to keep you in control while it does. If you're used to entry-level scooters, the ride feel here is a huge step up. Just be ready for the learning curve if you're not used to balancing torque with terrain. All right, let's talk juice. The GT3 Pro comes locked and loaded with a 2160 battery. Segway claims up to 86 miles at 15.5 miles per hour on a single charge. But before you start planning a cross-country scooter trip, let's get brutally honest. That stat is for eco mode, and nobody's buying the GT3 Pro to ride it like a grandma doing laps around a retirement village. Eco mode on this thing feels like putting a racehorse on a leash. Sure, you'll technically get the full 86 miles, but only if you weigh 110 pounds, ride downhill both ways, and never touch the throttle past 15.5 miles per hour. And even then, good luck. Realistically, if you're riding it like a normal human being, maybe bouncing between sport and race mode, hitting some inclines, stopping at lights, doing a bit of carving, you're looking at around 45 to 35 miles. Maybe less if you're pushing it hard. But honestly, that 35 miles will be glorious. Fast, smooth, thrilling, and probably enough for most riders' daily or even multi-day needs without needing a top-up. When you do need to recharge, the Segway GT3 Pro comes with a 4A high-speed charger that allows a full top-up in around 7.5 hours. That's actually really solid for a battery this size. Then there's the whole regen braking system. Segway loves to tout it as a way to extend your ride, and yes, technically, it does feed some energy back into the battery, but it's only going to save you a few percent here and there. Still, it's a nice bonus, especially if you like fine-tuning your ride efficiency. Plus, energy recovery means slightly less wear on your mechanical brakes, so that's one less thing to maintain. Just don't let this be a decisive factor for buying the scooter. So now that we've covered how fast it goes, how far it takes you, and how smooth the ride is, let's talk about everything in between. The GT3 Pro isn't just about brute force. It's got brains too. And for once, the app isn't just there to look pretty. You get full app connectivity through Segway ninebot's ecosystem. Lock your ride remotely, track it with built-in Jeeps, and dig into ride stats and firmware updates like a proper tech geek. It even comes with anti-theft features that'll trigger alarms if anyone so much as looks at your scooter funny. It's solid peace of mind if you're parking it outside. Right in the middle of your handlebars sits a 2.4-inch TFT display that actually deserves to exist. It's sharp, bright, and allows you to switch between different ride modes, tweak torque delivery, and even control lighting patterns. We can all agree that the build quality is up there. You're getting a high-strength steel frame and an IPX6 water resistance rating, which means, yes, you can ride it in the rain. Weight-wise, it's a chunky boy, around 53 kilograms, but that's the price you pay for a scooter built like a mini tank. The overall design is perfect. It's a scooter that looks like it costs a lot, feels like it costs a lot, and with a $3,500 price tag, it actually delivers on that cost. Here's the part where things get real. Is the GT3 Pro a true level up? Or just the GT2 with a shinier belt and an ego boost? Let's start with speed. GT2 caps out at 43.5 miles per hour, but the GT3 Pro knocks it off the ballpark with a top speed of 50 miles per hour. But speed alone isn't where the GT3 Pro earns its stripes. Where it does start pulling ahead is torque. The GT3 Pro throws down with more low-end power. It feels quicker off the line, especially uphill. It's not just about top speed, it's about how fast it gets there. The display on GT2 gives you a transparent PMOLED screen. It's clean, minimal, and easy enough to read, but it's also kind of basic. The GT3 Pro throws in a full-color 2.4-inch TFT screen with everything from call alerts to real-time ride stats and customizable ride modes. The GT3 Pro also dominates when you take a look at the lighting. GT2 comes with a 900 lumen headlight and strobe-style indicators that honestly look great at night, but kinda disappear during the day. GT3 Pro cranks it up with a 14-watt high beam, automatic brightness control, sleeker turn signals, and better LED daytime running lights. And then there's the price tag. GT2 used to sit around $3,000, but you can usually get a deal for under $3,000. The GT3 Pro is more expensive, as you'd expect. You're looking at about a $1,000 jump. The smooth ride experience is where that price difference starts making sense. GT3 Pro features 11-inch self-sealing tubeless tires, like the GT2, but the chassis geometry got an upgrade, the torque curve hits harder off the line, and the suspension's been retuned for better high-speed stability. Dual hydraulic setup on both, but the GT3 Pros just feels tighter when you're carving or hitting uneven roads. So who's the GT3 Pro actually for? Let's be blunt. If you're just trying to get to work in one piece and you don't care too much about suspensions and whether you look cool or not while riding, the GT3 Pro is probably overkill. This thing wasn't built to just handle your 9-to-5. It was built to make sure you own your 9-to-5 commute, your weekend ride, and everyone's attention while you're doing it. Now, if you're someone who treats scooters more like a second vehicle, then yeah, this makes a whole lot more sense. It's got the power, the range, the suspension, and the tech to pull that off comfortably. And let's not ignore the flex. If you want the best scooter Segway has ever made, this is it. Period. The torque, the suspension, the build, the lights, GT3 Pro isn't out here to play nice with the competition. It's out here to smoke it. But, and it's a real but, that price tag's still heavy. So if you're sitting there trying to convince yourself you need the GT3 Pro when you're not even maxing out your GT2, maybe chill. The GT2 is still crazy good, and the core experience solid as hell. Let us know, are you rolling with the GT3 Pro or sticking with the GT2? Drop a comment below. And if this helped you decide, do us a solid and like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next one.